Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. Ever since Right Honorable Martin Amaewhule's video went viral over the issue of 600 billion being left in the coffers of Rivers State government account, there have been a lot of reactions and counter reactions. Of course, if you check out playlist, get to see what Fubara told him in reply. Fubara broke silence, but many persons have been asking and wondering, is it true? Was there over 600 billion in the coffers of Rivers State? Let's quickly dive into the news. Check the breakdown, as most Riverians have taken to finding out how much truly was left and what was expended, and how did it go. Now, according to what we gathered, Sole Administrator Ibas couldn't have left 600 billion naira in Rivers State government account when he didn't receive such amount in his 6 months in charge, and considering the recurrent expenditure framework of the state. Now, let's break down the financial receipt of Rivers State from March to August 2025 under Ibas. Now, for March, it was 44 billion naira, and for that same March, for local government area, it was 18.5 billion naira. Now, for state, April was 44.4 billion naira. For local government area, it was 19.4 billion. For May, it was 42.7 billion naira. For local government area, it was 16 billion naira. Now, for June, it was 42.3 billion naira. For local government area, it was 18.8 billion naira. For July, it was 39 billion naira. For local government area, it's 18.8 billion. For August, under state, it was 41.6 billion naira. Then for the local government, for the same month of August, it was 19.2 billion. Now, if you total for the 6 months for local government area, it totaled 110.7 billion naira for local government area for the for 6 months that Ibas was there. Now, but for the state, for 6 months that Ibas was there, it generated 254.6 billion naira. I think that again, 254.6 billion naira. Now, if you add that, if you sum that together, now they now say, look, that they withheld local government allocation for January and February, released under Ibas, which was 36.6 billion naira. Now, if you add that in sum total, you'll be having 401.9 billion. Now, total of the state and local government area was 365.3 billion naira. Now, if you add the 36.6 billion naira that was released to Ibas for January and February, it now sum totaled 401.9 billion naira. Now, for local government allocation deductions, the local government allocation from March 2025 to August, plus 2 months earlier withheld funds, totaled 147.3 billion naira. Now, if you remove 401.9 billion naira from, if you remove 147.38 billion naira for 401.9 billion, it will give you 254.6 billion naira. Now, so if 254.6 billion naira is what Ibas received from the Federal Account Allocation Committee (FAC), let's look at the state's internally generated revenue. Ibas came on the 18th of March 2025, but resumed office 2 days after he was posted. Assuming we put the IGR at an estimate of 27 billion naira per month, since the secret code behind this agency doesn't allow public knowledge of the actual figures since 2015 till date, we shall then have to keep our estimates around the figures that have been publicly declared by those in charge in recent time. Now, before the governor was suspended, he once said that the state was generating between 26 billion naira to 28 billion naira monthly, and since then there was no known exit of a major contributing organization during this period of the state of emergency. So it is safe to use the range between 28 billion and 26 billion, which should be 27 billion. Now, if it's 27 billion naira, multiply that by 6 months, it equals you 162 billion naira. Now, therefore, receiving IGR income under Ibas should stand around that 162 billion naira. Now, if you add 254.6 billion naira from the state generated one, plus 162 billion from the local government generated one, you'll be having total of 416.6 billion naira legitimate funds at Ibas disposal during the 6 months in charge. Expenditures. Of course, the revised and approved Rivers State budget for 2025 by the Senate was 1.485 trillion naira with a recurrent expenditure of 287.38 billion naira. Now, this recurrent expenditure includes government workers' salaries, retirees, pension, overhead to ministries, government agencies and parastatals, and so on and so forth. But it excludes debt servicing, which is 120 billion naira, which is static. It has not changed. So since there was crisis and no new employment was made, it is safe to divide this recurrent expenditure into 12 to extract the 6 months under the SOLAD from the total available amount under the year 2025 expenditure. Now, so 287.38 billion divided by 12 months gives us 23.9433 billion monthly. Therefore, 23.9433 billion naira times 6 months will give us 143.69 billion naira. Debt servicing equals 120 billion divided by 12 months. It gives you 10 billion naira per month. Now, 10 billion naira per month times 6 months equals you 60 billion. Total expenditure for the period under state of emergency stood at 143.698 billion naira for recurrent expenditure, 60 billion naira for debt servicing. Total expenditure will now be 203.69 billion naira. Finally, total receivable income under Ibas was 416.6 billion naira, excluding local government allocations, while total expenditure was 203.69 billion naira. Now, available funds after the state emergency without frivolity should be 416.6 billion minus 203.69 billion, which equals 212.91 billion. And this figure is assuming there was no frivolous financial actions by the manager of the funds. But upon exit, Ibas made the following unauthorized spending: 27 pieces of Prado SUV cars at 150 million each for the assembly members, amounting to 4.50 billion naira. He awarded the contract for the renovation of the state secretariat and made down payment of 20 billion, which the governor is demanding for a refund right now because the award of the contract did not follow due process and the competence of the contracting company is still in doubt. So with this, we should still have further deductions of about 24.50 billion naira from 212.9 billion estimate balance at the end of the sole administrators based on the verifiable receivable income presented above. And this does not include the subterranean self-settlement Ibas must have given himself and all the other ones he must have also given to those who facilitated his arrival here. And this is excluding the alleged 350 million naira given to each of the assembly members. So with this, it is practically impossible for Vice Admiral Ibas to have left 600 billion naira in the state coffers while leaving. Therefore, a statement by the Speaker, Honorable Martin Amaewhule, may have been a sensational statement born out of trite or from an uncontrollable emotional outburst. Whichever way it is, the statement can't be true based on available facts now involved. Now, note, these figures obtained are mostly from MBS and FAC disbursement releases. Because this is coming from a comrade, Solomon Leno, and from all indication, Nigerians are following up one-on-one to find out how true it is. Now you've heard the breakdown. Do you still believe that a 600 billion is lying somewhere and Fubara is not